I'm working as a nurse and I'm in the hospital setting and I just felt like I could do more. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to go back to school and do this. They wanted the space that we were in to just build that part of the business. The owner was like, Peggy, listen, you have such a heart and you're such a hard worker. Just take this and go.
Wow. A literal gift from the universe.
It's very fulfilling. It's very rewarding. I can actually run the practice how I want to run the practice. And it's been very fulfilling to be my own boss. Your patients see your drive, hustle, and you care, and you do things ethically. That's what it's all about. In order to grow, you have to have your people in the position of where they need to be. Let them shine their light and let them thrive so you can work on something bigger. I wanted to make sure everyone gets taught safely, ethically. My competition isn't the med spa down the street. It's my patient or her patient. And someone says, don't ever do this, don't ever do that. And then now it's reflecting on my business because someone doesn't want to come and get a service done. Just be true to yourself, be true to your patients, always do the right thing. Don't cut corners. It's not worth it.
Welcome to Unsung, the podcast powered by Duet, where we shine a light on the nurse practitioners who are breaking barriers, redefining healthcare, and proving that NPs aren't just the future, we're the now. I'm Dr. E, and in each episode, we'll uncover the untold stories of NPs across the country who are changing lives with their practices, making a real impact in their communities. Today on Unsung, we're spotlighting an NP, Peggy Zapantis, who has been a nurse practitioner for 11 years. In 2023, when private equity bought the spa she worked in, Peggy didn't wait to see what would happen. She bought the assets, rebranded, and launched Anasa Aesthetics in Boca Raton, Florida. Her practice blends aesthetic medicine and regenerative medicine, evidence-driven care that helps people look like themselves, feel like themselves, and heal better. In April, she hit a record month while also running an Anasa Academy workshop at the FLANP conference. That's what building and teaching at the same time looks like. This is the NP owner story we don't hear enough. See the market shift, take the risk, keep the mission. Peggy is building a patient-first brand while training the next wave to do it right. Peggy Zapantis, welcome to Unsung. Peggy, I am so excited to have you here.
Well, I'm so grateful to be here. You are such an incredible asset to the nurse practitioner industry. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God, that's so kind. So before we get into the business aspect, I always want to ask, what made you decide to become a nurse practitioner?
You know what? Well, obviously became a nurse, right? And I'm working as a nurse and I'm in the hospital setting and I just felt like I could do more and be more, right? And you do get a little burnout. I'm gonna be honest with that. So I think making that shift, it was kind of easy. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to school and do this and just kind of be my individual person. So that's what I did. And I worked for a doctor and I rocked primary care. Like primary care was definitely my calling versus being a hospital nurse.
Yeah.
And then, and I loved every minute of it until you get burned out again. And then you just change the career again.
Of course. You know, it's interesting you said about primary care. I agree. I love primary care. And it's very different from the hospital because there's this longitudinal care that you don't get in the hospital. And
Correct.
Some people love the longitudinal care and some people are like, no, leave me alone. But it takes, it takes something. I love the longitudinal care also.
Me too.
So what was the aha moment where you decided, okay, I'm working for another doctor. This is great, but I got to open up my own jam?
So it kind of didn't really happen like that. I think we're all, we're working, we're grateful for our jobs. We love giving back as nurses and nurse practitioners, but I kind of missed my skills a little bit. And I said a little bit of two things. One, I missed my skills. Two, I was like, how could I make a little bit more money?
Yeah.
So it kind of was a two-thing process. So I said, let me start doing aesthetics and some injectables. And I'm already seeing the patient for like blood pressure, pap smears. Like, let me just throw some Botox in your forehead. So it kind of just evolved. And then it evolved to the point where I actually got pretty efficient with this. And then I started teaching and I started an academy and built my book. But I did leave primary care. I couldn't do it all. So I had to shift.
Tell us about that moment when you decided to, so primary care, you were working for someone else.
Correct.
And then how did you decide to open up your own place?
So I left primary care and I was pregnant with my second son, and I physically couldn't do the primary care hours. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of us know you're in there, it's long days. And, my older one was getting a little older. And I said, I think it's time for me to just make that shift. So in aesthetics, it's kind of like being a pilot. If you stop doing something, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Sure.
So I said, let me find something maybe part time until I figure out what I want to do. And in doing so, I worked in a very large primary care practice here in South Florida. And in that practice was a division of just aesthetics, wellness,
Oh,
aesthetics
wow.
medicine. Yeah, it was a whole section. So I ran that little section. So it still made me feel like I'm in a full medical office, but then I have my own little thing going on. So that was really where I was. And I was happily there until we just recently sold to private equity. And in doing so, they were kind of not really interested in the aesthetic wellness part of it.
Mm.
So they wanted to just keep more medical and doctors and, HMO plans. And so they wanted the space that we were in to just build that part of the business. So the owner was like, Peggy, listen, you have such a heart and you're such a hard worker. He's like, just take this and go. Like,
Wow.
that's
Okay.
how I
Okay.
know.
Say less. I'm out.
So it kind of happened like that. And everyone just kind of followed and we moved down the street, not too far. And
So
here we
it was
are.
a literal gift from the universe.
It really was. And I tell people, I'm like, you know what? And I get chills when I think about it. I'm like, I had no intent. I mean, I was getting a good paycheck. I was going to Greece in the summer. Like I was going on vacation with the family. This summer things shifted, but it's all for the better. And I can tell you, new into this field as a true business owner now, it's very fulfilling. It's very rewarding. I know like I can actually run the practice how I want to run the practice and bring, the hormones in and looking at the body, the whole picture. And it's really like, yes, from the outside, but it's also from the inside. So it's been very fulfilling to be my own boss.
Oh my God, I love that. So, okay, so it wasn't so much that classic like inspiration and yearning, kind of like the universe was like, no, ma'am, you need to do this. And I love that. We all get here in different ways. So, but when you first started, there still
Mhm.
had to be like, you go from like a guaranteed paycheck to like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what am I doing? So, what kept you up at night when you first started?
So actually, I love this question because I actually started sleeping at night as soon as I took over the business.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about not being the business owner. And of course, what my field is in, and I know a lot of primary care practices are trying to incorporate a little bit of that aesthetics medicine, the wellness, weight. We see it with weight loss, we see it with, hormones and stuff like that. There's a cash flow that comes in. So where I was at, it was a little frustrating because the cash flow would come in. Me as not a business owner, I just did my job and went home. But I saw that there was so much more to give back to the business that I wasn't able to do. So that's when my opinion, things got behind and bills got behind from the owner. So now as a new business owner, I'm able to like keep things very clean. And then I
You
bring
never,
services.
even from
No,
day one, you never stressed out.
n- honestly, I'm stressing out now. I the beginning was very good. It was good only because I had the book of business and the flow was there. The flow of the patients were there. The cash flow was there. So
Mm.
things were consistent. And of course, I really went on my own per se during season, December. I mean, it's a busy time of the year. So there was never like a slow time.
Oh, that's
And
great.
I'll tell you like now I'm in my 8th month doing this now. Now I had to make some shifts in this practice and I had to make some, business owner, you have to shift people, put other employees in some places versus others. So I've had more stress now than I did in the very beginning.
Okay, so then what keeps you up now?
Okay, I like that one. So pretty much I think making the right choices and really picking the right staff, right? So when you're in an interview process and you're trying to find that perfect staff, you're trying to figure out that missing piece of the puzzle. And, I kind of I run a practice. I'm very like an organized chaos, like I call it. So I try to look for people that are very like more type A than me per se. And I think that's number one. I just recently signed a lease for a second location. So I
Mm.
would probably say now my keeping me up at night is making sure that that second location is getting fed enough by my other providers.
So it sounds like, one of the reasons your first location didn't keep you up at night is because it was that universe gift with that book of business. And now
Correct.
you're going to have, because if anyone's listening, must be like, how is she not asleep at night? But it was almost like the first one almost didn't count in terms of that initial
You're
overwhelm
right.
stress. Yeah. And now you're feeling that many of our providers feel, which is like, I have the spot. How do I fill it up? Because the last thing you want is to like take from one to feed the other, right? So you want to,
Correct.
okay, so now,
Correct.
when does your new spot open?
So we're officially signing the lease on September 1st. So everything's going to be official. And it's just, I think, building that practice up. Because, like you said, for me, okay, this is fine, but you want each business to feed itself. You don't want
Sure.
to be, stretching yourself too thin. So we're going to make some adjustments. I know at the end of the day, it's all about how hard you want to work and how much you want to give. And I'm consider myself a pretty hard worker, and I'm pretty well diverse in the South Florida community. So I think that's important. You have to hustle. I mean,
Sure.
nothing, right? Like nothing's been given to me. Like my parents came from a restaurant business. So like they know nothing about healthcare. So I'm the first nurse in the family, and you just you either have it or you don't. And I think that aligns with the business aspect of it. A lot of our nurse practitioner colleagues, I remember being in school, Dr. Ian, I'm like, I was not the top A number one student. Like I had to hustle and like study a lot in nursing school because I was very young when I went to nursing school.
Mm.
I was 21, 20. And now when I went back to NP school, 26, 27, I was a little older, have a little bit more maturity. It was very hard though, nursing school. But if you hustle and your patients see your drive, the patients see your work ethic. And I'll never forget in primary care, I had a patient tell me, he goes, Peggy, I don't know what you're going to do in life. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm a nurse practitioner. I'm here. They're like, no, whatever. You're going to be successful because you hustle. I'm like, oh my
Oh,
gosh, thank you. Like,
yeah.
you hustle and you care. Like, they saw that. You hustle and you care and you do things ethically. That's what it's all about, right?
I love that.
So
So now you're starting this. So how many nurse practitioners work for you right now?
I have two NPs now that I brought in. Just had the second NP was hired a couple weeks ago, and she's
Okay.
brand new as a nurse practitioner and brand new in the aesthetics regenerative side of things.
So you're going
So,
to train her. How long do you anticipate training will take?
so right away when they come in, I just throw them to the wolves. That's the best way to learn, right? So her first day of training, I was like, okay, we're doing this, we're doing that. So I anticipate it's going to be probably like a good 6-month hand holding. And then from there, slowly we'll see how she has a good hand. I can tell her assessments are good. There's a very big picture at this. So I can tell like she's going to be good. It's just still a 6-month process,
Oh yeah, I definitely think so. That's
right?
amazing. So what's your typical day like?
Oh, my typical day. Okay. From what part? Do I have coffee or do I don't have coffee?
You decide what to tell us.
I- Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So running out of the house, dropping the kids off. It's funny because I put this in my Instagram story yesterday. I said, the Instagram versus reality. It's I'm running from this practice, now running to the Fort Lauderdale practice, trying to get things set up. But I'm pretty much in the practice Monday through Friday. Usually Mondays, I utilize that as my training days. And I train MDs, DOs, NPs, PAs, all how to do injectables, aesthetics medicine, and to do things right and by the book and all that. Because comes down to like your anatomy and physiology and placement. So I usually spend Mondays doing that. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm in clinic seeing patients, and I'm usually in the practice till about 4. So
Mm.
that's usually my practice. Now, sometimes I will come back for later patients, but what people forget in this field is there's a lot of outside office work that has to happen. And
Sure.
that's between I'm networking, I'm going to an event tonight, I'm going to an event tomorrow. I'm gone a lot for conferences. So I'm gone along a lot for training. So there's a lot of outside work. Whereas in the primary care setting, I was almost in like a lockdown from 9 to 6, Monday through Friday, whereas this is like I can be a little bit more flexible, but there's challenges with every job. I
Of
mean, you
course.
take the good with the bad. Yeah.
So when do you do your admin stuff?
Yes. So now my new day for admin will be on half the day of Monday and half the day of Wednesday.
Okay,
We're gonna split
amazing.
up 2 days. Yeah. So I don't get too behind.
What's the one habit, if there's more, you can give us that
hmm
you've implemented that's been a game changer for your productivity or your sanity?
One habit. So I think it's going to help me. This actually officially happened yesterday. It's actually very ironic that we're having this podcast today. So Taylor, who the new injector is, the new nurse practitioner, she's been with me for a couple weeks now. And she pretty much said, Peggy, you're too busy to run the front desk as well. And
You run your own front desk?
I do and I don't. I have a
Okay.
part timer. She goes, you have to have someone consistent. And I said, you know what, Taylor, I appreciate you telling me this because, she's newer, she's coming in, as a new employee too, and not wanting to be as honest, but she is. She said, so I restructured some things. So my front desk is 100% Monday through Friday at the desk, greeting the patient, walking the patient in, having them sign consent forms. And I think that's going to strategically set me up for the rest of the day because having someone part time this day, that day, this day, things come up. We know people call, people, you
Absolutely.
remember, like it's just, it's
Absolutely.
one of those things where I can't predict what the day's going to be like or what's going to happen if there's a complication.
Yeah,
A lot of times, a lot of nurses will call me for things too. So I think that having that person consistent will be my number one savior. So
for sure.
I will get back to you on that in
Yeah,
probably
you
another
let us
month.
know? Okay. Yeah, it's really important to delegate as much of the responsibilities that do not require you to someone else. That is kind of like, again, this is not for people who are first starting their practice, that you do everything. But as you get bigger, if you do not delegate the things that other can do, then you can't grow your business. Yeah,
Totally. You said it right there. You cannot grow. And in order to grow, you have to have your people in the position of where they need to be. Let them shine their light and let them thrive so you can work on something else. So you can work on something bigger, and better.
absolutely.
And yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
I learned.
So listen, it comes when it comes when it's
Ah,
supposed to
yeah,
come when it comes.
right.
Right? Most people don't start off when they open their doors already having an admin in place. It's something that you grow into. So it's appropriate timing. Besides that, besides staffing, is there, anything else that you would tell another NP that is like really important to have?
I think it comes back to you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And
Okay.
I really stand firm on that however your mindset is, however you can work as little or as much as you want. It's whatever's going to fill your cup. So for my industry, I have a lot of providers that work very little. They work 2 days a week. They're
Sure.
happy. They're content. For me, that's not filling my cup. So I'm gonna lead, like I'm gonna bring the people in and I'm gonna feed my business as much as I can because I thrive on that. I want to touch as many individuals as I can and make them feel good and confident and empowered is really like the biggest thing. So for my advice, I would say really just figuring out how much you want to work and hustle if you want to hustle. So I see it all the time. I have colleagues that are like, I don't want to do that. Okay, so don't add the service in. Then the patient comes to me. Oh,
Yeah. So you're saying, let me just say what you're saying back, is like figure out what your goal is, and then, because you started with you can lead a horse to water.
yeah, yeah. Like you can. So in other words, for example, and probably the best example I can give, I am out a lot in the community and driving and bringing business in and really hustling to get my word out of my practice. And if a provider doesn't want to do that, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't get expected to like get fed as
Mm.
much.
Yeah,
And
sure.
if you're okay with that, then you're okay just coasting your business. See,
Yeah.
I'm not. I want to make sure everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think just,
So you're
yeah,
saying, I imagine if I can re-say it, you're telling the NP, if you're going to if you're not interested in going out there and getting your own business, that will be reflected in your book of business.
perfectly said.
Okay.
Perfectly summarized. Yes,
Okay.
correct.
I mean, I remember when we first started, this is a million years ago, because thank goodness we're in a good place. But when we first started, like you, I went to every event, to everything. I was constantly, it got to the point where my son was giving out business cards at his summer camp. He was in first grade. Okay. So like we were just spreading the word. And if you're not going to do that, you're not going to get known. And it really takes boots on the ground. It's not so much social media. It's not so much the website. It's literally boots on the ground, in my opinion.
Totally. And that's a very good point. My social media platform is there. It's there for to make sure that the patient can see that yes,
To
she's
verify
legit,
you.
verify you. It is not my feeder. My feeder is, Miss Goldberg down the street that told all of her ladies when she goes and plays cards. Like those are my feeders.
100%. And I think that's an important thing to surface, because a lot of people spend time, I need my Facebook page. And you really don't, because no one's looking there. It is really there to serve, like you said, to legitimize you. Like, who is this person? Let me Google them real quick. Let me look them up. Oh, they're real. Oh, there's pictures. That's all. It's like a verification.
You're so right about that.
Yeah.
So
Unless you
I
have
think,
virtual business, it really is just a page to see that you're alive. Yeah.
yeah, it's true. Just to see if you're alive. And I think my always little tip that I tell, students and people getting into any practice, any business, going back to how hard do you want to work? That's number one. You have to ask yourself how hard do you want to work? What level of work do you want to do? And then from that point, plant your seeds, plant them everywhere and just let them flourish.
Exactly right. Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about this academy that you have. How did you decide to also teach?
Okay. So Anasa Aesthetics Academy, I started in 2023, and it was really because I was starting to see a need in the industry. Other nurse practitioners were reaching out. How do I get trained? How can I do this? I said, you know what? I'll just start a training academy, and I'll just kind of be one-on-one is the best way to train, in my opinion, for anything. One-on-one in aesthetics takes it up a different level where you're actually able to see the patient as a whole. You look at them. I come either into their practice or they come to my practice, whatever is convenient, or I'll travel. I do travel as well. And I do something that a lot of people don't in aesthetics medicine, and that's make it affordable.
Mm.
Because my thought process is education should be accessible and affordable to all. And my competition isn't the med spa down the street. I mean, I can open up my window. There's a med spa right there. I'm actually very good friends with her. So it's not that person. It's my patient or her patient going into a mommy group or going into, wine night with the ladies. And someone says, don't ever do this, don't ever do that. And then now it's reflecting on my business because someone doesn't want to come and get a service done. So I feel that for me, I wanted to make sure everyone gets taught safely, ethically, and affordable because it's expensive. And
Yeah.
I want to make sure like people know that there's a place to go to train. You're not
So
alone.
that's
You're not
amazing.
alone.
So you'll go to someone's practice and help. So you practice on patients?
Correct. Yeah. So they'll have models. We do, the assessments and kind of the whole rundown and really just spreading the word, Dr. E, that this industry is not just Botox and fillers. Like, they have this like facade of this. I mean, it's a true aesthetics medicine, regenerative medicine.
Mm.
You look good, you feel good. You just feel, like we said earlier, empowered. And, I have a lot of cancer patients. I have a lot of HIV patients that we treat. There's so many treatments that, your biostimulators and things like that. So it's very fulfilling. So that's also part of the teaching, right? So like making sure that these people are in it, A, for the money will follow, like
For sure.
it'll come. But B, are you in it for the patient?
Love that so much. Love that so much. If you could go back in time,
Yeah.
what's one piece of advice you would give yourself, when you first started?
I would say, it's a good one, separate friendship and business.
Say more.
Separate friendship and business, because there's got to be a divide. And I'm seeing it on a lot of aspects of my practice right now. You build relationships with people. You want to hire people because they're friends with this person and that person. And then things aren't really, but separate business. You can hire them, just separate it. Like,
So you felt, is that something that you did not know?
I think that it's one of those things that I'm not regretting. I just, you have to put your big girl boots on and just
Yeah.
make some big girl moves. And maybe some feelings will get hurt along the way, but you've got to go back to your practice. And it's strategically business, because if you're going to grow, you have to think of the practice as a whole.
Yeah,
And
100%.
what's fair for everyone. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will initially hire friends or family. And then when you get bigger, you're like, my sister, like you're not performing or whatever. So it's a hard one to be, it's a hard place to be in.
So that's probably not that I say it's a regret, but I think it's just kind of one of those things. Just, I don't know. Maybe it is a little bit of regret. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
So to begin with, going back in time, you would have not hired friends and family?
I think it's probably no.
Okay.
Let's just say no.
Amazing. All right, now we're going to do some fun questions about you. What's a fun or surprising fact about you that most patients or colleagues don't know?
A fun, surprising fact about me. I don't know why this always comes to my mind, and because people don't know it. Can it be something like health-wise?
Anything you want.
Right, I work in aesthetics, and people see me, and I'm pretty out there on social. But believe it or not, when I was in first grade, I had a chicken pox, and it kind of landed like right on my eyelash. So I'm so like, whether it's self-conscious, whatever, funny, I don't know. And I said, "Oh yeah, I don't have an eyelash there." And they're like, "I've never even noticed that. I never even knew that about you." So I guess the chicken pox eyelash is gone.
So it's something that bothers you, but absolutely no one notices?
Yeah, then I sometimes forget about it. And
That's so interesting. And if you weren't an NP, what would you be doing?
Oh my gosh. I would do something with like marketing, event planning. I'm so into networking, so I think it would be something on the marketing side.
Yeah.
I like to brand things. I see a vision and a color, and I like that stuff.
Love that. Okay, what did I forget to ask you, or something that you should want to tell us or tell other NP entrepreneurs out there?
I think I like that advice about like the business money will follow. Just be true to yourself, be true to your patients, always do the right thing. Don't cut corners. It's not worth it.
I could not agree with you more. I could not agree with you more.
For what?
Yeah. Stay in integrity, stay in transparency, the money will come.
Yeah. And I think, for me, looking back with my primary care, and I worked in a very busy primary care practice, and I probably would have stayed in primary care, Dr. Yip. I probably would have stayed, but I was in such a powerhouse practice that I didn't have the help. It was myself and another doctor. And I look back and I think that, if you can be in an environment that you guys are working together more as a team, not work getting dumped on the nurse practitioner. So, right, goes back to hiring, right? Hire your people, hire your help, whatever you can do. So the patients see that. They know, they can tell when like it's a chaos practice.
Sure.
Like they want to walk into an environment that's like fun. You've got the time, and you open up your computer and you go over, it just makes such a more better experience for everyone.
I love that so much. Oh my God. So anyone who's listening who also maybe wants to get training, they should go to Anasa Academy, Anasa Aesthetic Academy.
Yes, that's it. Anasa means to breathe in Greek.
To breathe. Okay.
Take a deep breath.
See what it means. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that so much. That's great to know. I'm sure a lot of people want training. It's great for them to know where to go. That's great. Spreading the word.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And thank you for everything you've done for the industry and nurse practitioners. You're amazing.
So are you. You're wonderful. Peggy, thank you for being here on the Duet podcast. You're amazing.
Thank you Guys, thank you for helping so many NPs, and you guys are great. Keep doing what you're doing. We're so grateful for all the support.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of Unsung. If this inspired you, share it with another NP who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It helps more NPs find us and fuels the movement. Want to join the largest NP practice network? Learn more about Duet on our website, joinduet.com. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries and proving what NPs can do.